promised, we are going to make black bean burgers.
Yum!
Pull my recipe out here. So the recipe calls for 14.5-ounce can of beans. Well, we are not using that. We made our own. So I put in 14 ounces of black beans in my blender, and now I am going to add 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. I don't have any mayonnaise, and I often use yogurt or cottage cheese instead of mayonnaise. So I'm telling you right now, the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. I am using a tablespoon of yogurt and a tablespoon of cottage cheese. I am such a rebel.
She doesn't color inside the lines either.
Okay, those need to be super, like, smashed.
Not just a little bit, but
yeah,
a whole bunch.
A whole bunch. And that's not going to be enough, is it?
How much is it
I need 1 cup of breadcrumbs. Now, the recipe originally called for panko, but I don't use panko because it's a processed food. And so right now we have been purchasing 9-grain bread from someone at our farmer's market who makes it without any bad oils or any, I mean, it's just an amazing bread.
All good ingredients.
All good. And so we're just gonna kind of break that up and put it into little tiny pieces you can get, okay? That's what he's doing. My spices are 2 teaspoons of cumin and 1 teaspoon of oregano, you know, the ground oregano, not the ground, well actually mine is flaked. And then 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And that's what I'm going to put in there right now. And now I am putting in, where's my tablespoon? Right here. 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You can go ahead and put that into that, where those beans are.
Where the bean? What do you mean?
In that measuring cup?
Oh, in the measuring cup. Because you have two containers of beans and you got beans over there. It's close.
Close.
Fluff up.
I think it'll do fine.
There you go.
All right.
Ta-da!
Now, we've already done the part where we had to make a loud noise with the blenders. And now, to that, we are going to add 1/2 cup of quinoa, which we were able to pull out of our freezer and get out of the food saver bag, thaw it out in hot water in the bag, and then just open it and pour it in. Really easy, already done. Then we're going to use 1/4 cup of cilantro, fresh cilantro chopped up, and the other beans that we have. And shall we do that?
So how much?
It's the right amount. I'm just making sure. I've already measured it.
Well, then you don't need this cup.
I don't need that cup.
You just need to get it in here.
I'm just making sure that
okay.
It's drained. All right. Then.
Yeah, a lot of water came out of that.
Oh, out of here, yeah. So then fold that all in together. Then I'm going to get out my cast iron skillet and we're going to make this into burgers. The error that we made is that our first set of beans, we had not drained them as well as we should have. So make sure they're drained well.
Yeah, it makes it, it's going to be thin burgers.
And would you get me an onion from over there in that basket? Because we're going to grill some onions to go on this.
Okay.
We also didn't get any buns because we don't use hamburger buns because that's just extra carb of something that we don't need. So we will have this with one slice of the bread that we got. And our bread is very tiny bread. Little pieces. So we'll just use one slice of that. So yeah, this would have been, when I made it before, it was much stiffer. So hopefully it'll be okay. This other that we had made some extra that's pureed. It'll make great bean dip.
A lot of ways to use it. Bean dip being a main one.
We're gonna make cheeseburgers, by the way.
What kind of cheese are we using?
Well, we're not using what I normally use.
Now, do you need these more?
No, that's fine.
Perfect.
I always use just a white cheese. This is actually a Kobe Jack, so it's white mixed with the other. It's what I could get today.
Okay.
Sometimes you do the best you can.
Now, our preference would be making our own cheese. We're waiting for our animals to make that a possibility.
All right, so we're gonna make a patty. Got kale cooking back there, grilled onions right here. And we'll put some toast on. You can put it a little bit toastier. They look like hamburgers.
They do.
So they say that you want to do it until this shimmers on the top, and you only want to turn it one time. So I'm going to make sure that it's nice and crisp on the bottom, and then I will turn it over. All right, I'm going to turn these. Cross your fingers.
Looks pretty good to me.
Looks pretty good. It could be a little bit less runny, so
You need to drain them better.
drain them better. But that looks...
Next time.
Yep. This cooks about 5 minutes total. So about 2.5 minutes on each side. You want to butter those?
No. Yeah, I can.
Okay, how about if you bring the plate over here and I put this on. And we put some onions on it. And then we'll put some kale on it. How's that look?
Okay, delicious.
That looks pretty good.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. There you go. The bean burgers were amazing. I will tell you this, make sure you've drained your beans because ours could have still been a little bit stiffer. And it was delicious though, really, really good. I had a viewer who asked me how I make my broth and specifically how I make the broth that turns to gelatin. It's the bones and all of that from the good meat that I do that helps that gelatin come. So this is a pasture raised chicken that we raised. And in this pot, I put the chicken in breast side down. I add to it a full onion that was all sliced, 3 or 4 cloves of garlic, celery, carrots, fresh sage that I had in my freezer from when I had my plant. And then if I have fresh thyme, fresh oregano, fresh rosemary, any of that, I'll just add that in there. If I don't, then I'll add the dry ingredients that make it equivalent to that of all those spices. Your sage is what really gives your chicken the really good flavor. And I've had this for 6 hours on. It is falling off the bone right now. And it is up to here with broth. I had to add some water to this because as I didn't have anything. I didn't have to. It could have just cooked and then it makes its own. But I wanted more broth. So I added it about half full with water and now it's clear up to the top and it's good, good broth. So this is done. I put it on at noon. It was done at 6. And this will go into the refrigerator now. And I will get 3 meals out of this. We'll take our white meat, and we're not super white meat fans, so we use that in enchiladas, in chicken salad, things like that. And then we also will get the dark meat. Now we like the dark meat, we'll just eat it right on the plate and add some sides with it. I'll probably have some tomorrow and we'll add sweet potato and we'll have kale on the side and we'll go with that. The other thing we have now is broth. Now I can take some of that chicken and make a soup out of it with the broth, or I can just save that broth and can put it into smaller containers so that I have it to use in so many of the recipes that call for broth. And that is the way you make broth. Once it's sitting, it will turn into a gelatin. This will still stay as a broth. I think it will because it's had more water in it than just the bone and that you get from the chicken, but we'll see. Anyway, it's good homemade broth. And I'll just strain it and it'll be perfect broth.